Yo guys, what's going on? My name's James, welcome back to Griffin GFX, the best graphic design YouTube channel on YouTube. Welcome back. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make a channel banner like WillNE. I almost said logo because so far all the tutorials have been on logos. There's some coming up here. I've done loads of them at this point. But his logo is literally a little snippet of his banner, so I thought, you know what, it's a sick banner, let's just do a banner, let's switch it up. If you don't know who WillNE is, it doesn't matter, this is just going to be a good tutorial on how to make a cool banner. It incorporates your face. I suppose you don't have to put your face. If you want to put something else there, you could, or just remove the face entirely, but I mean, it's a cool way to incorporate your face. I feel like a lot of people just chuck their body or their face onto a banner and it doesn't really complement the banner, whereas his is more of a statement. There's like a 3D glitch effect, the background effect's really nice, the smoke with the particles and stuff. I'll be teaching you how to do it all in this video. I'm using Photoshop. I recommend using Photoshop, but there's other programs out there if you don't have the money for Photoshop. I understand that it's expensive. Anyway guys, let's get straight into it. I'm going to cue the intro and then we will begin.
Girls so cold, all got one come and go. Hurt a nigga to the bone, beat a nigga to the bone. Hurt a young nigga so, hurt a young nigga so, hurt a young nigga so, yeah. Pull up in the Aston.
Right, welcome back. As I always do, I'm going to check I'm recording on all areas. Right, so what I've got up on my screen right now, I've opened up a document and I've just dragged all the things in that I want for this. I took a weird picture of myself. I can't do the thing he does with his lips. His lips come up like... No, I just don't got it. Anyway, he was wearing some glasses, so I had to throw on the clout goggles. I had a little practice run. I tried a few of the effects in advance just to make sure I know roughly what I'm doing. The most of it is just going to be me experimenting in this video with you guys, so it's kind of a tutorial and me doing it myself. I actually took a picture of my woodlands behind my house because I don't live in a city, so I didn't have any like city photography, but it just wasn't creating the same effect. I was like, instead of doing the blue city, I was doing like the green trees, but I didn't like it, so I just grabbed an image off of Google Images of I think that's still London. I hope that's still London. I typed in London. I don't recognise that building. I probably should. I don't know London at all. And yeah, I got this mugshot of myself. That's what we're going to be working with. The font you're going to go and download is called Price Down. I'll have all the links in the description to everything you need in this video. And I'll remind you throughout the video what you need to go and grab so you can kind of do it with me. But yeah, go and grab the font now. Get it downloaded because that's probably going to be one of the first steps. Anyway... Take a picture of yourself, get your city picture, and let's begin. First thing you're going to want to do is open up a YouTube 1 channel banner template. You can grab these off the internet or I'll have it provided down below, and just open that up in Photoshop. So here I am with mine. Mine is literally just all grey, but the grid lines are what marks it out. So I'm going to explain to you how the banner works. I'm going to do some big black bars up here. You can do this with me if you want. I'm going to make the background dark grey so we can see what we're doing. I'm dragging a black rectangular box from the top to this line here. I'm going to duplicate it and put it down there. So now everything in this middle section here will be in the banner on a desktop screen. On a TV screen, if you ever go on YouTube on your TV, then they'll be able to see the entire banner, which is why it's so big in the first place. This line here is for mobile devices. It will be the smallest possible. The second line there is for tablets, and then when you're on PC, you're going to see the full stretch. So you want to basically make sure your text and everything you want people to see is safely within this section here. Make that a different colour, so there you go. You want everything to be within there. Realistically, probably even more central because you don't want it to be that loud and busy. Okay, so first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to start cutting out my face and my hoodie, because if you can see in his banner, he's got his hoodie, like, yeah, it's from his hoodie up basically. So what I'm doing to do that is I'm using the pen tool, which you can locate down the side here. You want to make sure it's on the first slot and you just want to get clicking. So You click in the first destination like that, and then you lift it up, and then you drag it to the next one. If you've made a bit of a mistake like there, I've realised the pen tool's gone off the edge slightly. Hold Control, left click on this little dot at the end, and you can drag it around and change it. It doesn't need to be exact, no one's going to like notice a really small detail. But if you can stay as close to the edges as possible without wasting too much of your time, you know, going round perfectly, then that's what you want to try and do. I'm probably going to like ignore the middle bit inside the clout goggles. So obviously these bits there I should cut out, but I'm probably just not going to do that. Hopefully I get away with that. If you're struggling with this pen tooling stuff, then what you want to do is you want to add the video that you're watching right now to your watch later. Subscribe to my channel with post notifications on, because in a couple days I'm going to be dropping a pen tool tutorial, and it's literally going to have a game that I've made inside Photoshop where you can practice your pen tooling skills. The idea is you have to get your pen tool like through twisting pathways, and you have a certain amount of clicks that you're allowed to do. It's going to be sick, and it's coming out very soon. So if you're struggling with this, hang about, learn how to do the pen tool in a few days, then come back and have a go, and this bit will be a breeze. But it shouldn't be too hard just to go around your face. Like, as you can see, I'm not taking too much effort of it because it really doesn't matter. Also, you might be wondering why I'm wearing my clout goggles so weirdly. I'm actually going to take them off. I was wearing them like that because if I try and slide it in there, I get pinched so much, like it just squeezes into my head. This headset's quite tight, so... Yeah, oh my god, my Photoshop document looks so bright now. Mud! So yeah, I can't exactly see what I'm doing here because it's black on black, but I think I'm getting it roughly correct. Once you've got it all selected, you just want to run around the outline of your face and the outline of your t-shirt or hoodie, whatever you're wearing. You then want to wrap all the way around like that, back to near the start, right click on the canvas, make a selection, and hit delete. And I just deleted the wrong one. Make sure you're on the right layer, then press delete. I really shouldn't be making tutorials there. There we go. Bang, bang, bang. Now the lighting's obviously a bit off when you're looking at it on black because you can see the light shining through my hair. I'm going to be teaching you how to fix all of that. So we're going to go ahead and drag that onto this like so. I'm going to press the little eyeball just to make that disappear for the time being. Now we're going to go ahead and work on the background. So I'm going to drag this image that I've got. I think I've said it already, but if you want to use this exact image, I'll have it in the description. If you're like me and you're too lazy to go and get your own, I'll just have a link to the place that I got it from because I can't remember who took the photo, but always credit the original artist. Shout out Orange Juice as well. Right, so I want this building here to be central. So I'm keeping in mind, right, that you're only going to be able to see from this line here to that line there. And I like the way on his, you're looking down at a city, so you can't really see any sky. It's all just like buildings and stuff. I'm going to try and go with that, but at the same time, that's a bit of a boring, like you can't see much there. So I'm going to go for like that. Then I'm going to put it underneath that so you can see what you're going to see. Looks like that. Now we're going to go ahead and start doing the color grading effect that he's got. Now, I think the best way to do this is just to make a layer above the layer that you're on with a complete field color. So he's done blue, I'm going to do red for the sake of this. You can make it blue, you can make it green, you could have it like a rainbow if you want. Do whatever you want, but the first thing you're going to do is paste the color in, make sure it's not on the same layer but on the layer above. And then up here where you see the blending modes, you want to go from normal and start flicking through them. Now, something like darken works perfectly. It takes the image underneath and applies the color and just makes it darker. It does what it says on the tin. But I'm going to flick through them all just to see if any of them look better specifically for this image. Always do that, guys, so take my tutorial but also tweak it, you know, because what I'm saying might look a bit weird on your image, for example. Anyway, I think darken's the best in this case. I'm going to lower the opacity slightly. I'm going to go on the layer underneath and I'm going to press on hue and saturation. So now you can see that that's gone between these two layers. And I'm going to twist it around until I get one that I like the look of. I'm going to increase the saturation slightly. And I like it like that when it's kind of like just going slightly dark. Because you can see on his, all you can see is blues and then blacks. So I'm going to do something a bit similar. Then I'm going to go above the red and I'm going to increase the saturation just to make it super red. And I'm going to drop the darkness slightly. And I might even tweak the colour a little bit to go towards the pink, because I prefer a slightly off red than like a complete red. And I've lowered the opacity of the hue and saturation underneath. So that's just kind of me messing around. You know, if I took both of those off, it doesn't even look that different. It's just a very slight kind of effect that I've put on it. So if you're struggling to kind of have a good eye for what looks good, just ignore that step. Anyway, moving on. We're going to be typing out our text. So the font is called Price Down. I had to remind myself what it was. You want to go to the text tool and just drag out a large box. I'm going to just do Griffin. I've already forgotten what it's called. Price Down, okay. So I'm going to type out Price Down up into there, hit enter, and it will just turn it into your thing. If you already have Photoshop open when you downloaded the font, that should be fine. You shouldn't need to like reopen it. Not with mine anyway. And I'm using quite an old version of Photoshop still, so. What I'm going to do here is I want to know what the middle of this banner is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go onto an empty layer by making a new layer. And then I'm going to go up here to where you can see the rulers. If you can't see them, just press Ctrl R. It will make them pop up. If for whatever reason that's not working, go into your view and then panels and then add it. Right, so put that central. Go back to your text. And I'm actually going to make it a bit bigger and then rasterize it. The reason is because once it's rasterized, when I press Ctrl T, these little boxes are going to be accurate, so I can make sure it's perfectly central. From there you want to apply, and where your head is going to be, it's going to be cutting off some of the text. So you want to play with that to make sure that's perfect. So I'm going to make the face visible again, because we hid it before. Shrink it down. Put it under the black rectangles because they should always be above. And I reckon about that kind of height there. I'm looking at his all the time on my second monitor just for reference. So his goes from pretty much the top to like there. Yeah, that's good. His text is slightly at an angle like that as well. And now what we're going to do is I'm actually going to take out the I and the F. Just like with his, he took out the I and the E. Just to give the logo, or like just so that you can't see a bit of text, I mean, underneath it. You want it just to, you want it to pop basically. And if you can see a little bit of text showing through, it's just going to look a little bit messy. So let's just remove that, put the face back on, and then make this big enough like that. There you go, I think that's quite nice. Boom. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to cut the F off like that. Get rid of that little bit there that's sticking out. And we probably want this to be flat as well. So to do that, I'm just going to go across and then click back up there like that. And fill it in. The reason I'm not doing this part slowly and teaching you guys exactly what I'm doing is because this is specific to my logo. Your letters are going to be different. But what I'm saying is just feel free to mess around with your letters until it works. So there you go. That's looking good. Now what we need to do is do some effects to my face so it doesn't look like my face is yellow and in a completely different place to the rest of the image. How we're going to do that is we're going to click on it, we're going to go to the layer above, and we're going to make the layer above a clipping mask by right clicking and pressing clipping mask. Now I'm going to get a white brush, turn the hardness to 0 and lift the size up quite high, I'm not sure, maybe about 400 pixels. And then just click on the face, that's where you want all the light to be. And then I'm going to go through the blending modes and see the one that adds the nicest effect. Overlay looks quite good. It looks quite similar to the kind of skin colour that he's got. There we go. I think around there looks good. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a red glow around the outside of my face to make it look like the kind of light coming from behind me isn't black but red. As you can see on the side of his, because he's got the blue, it's got blue coming up it. So how you do that is by doing the same thing, making a new layer above it and turning it into a clipping mask again. And then I'm going to make the brush a bit smaller, and I'm just going to start going round near the edge like that, just so that we have that kind of red shine going on. You don't want it to be like too intrusive, just a low-key effect here. Something like that. I think that looks quite good. You can lower the opacity if it looks a bit too extreme. And then underneath that layer, I'm going to do the same but with black, just so that it makes it look like it's getting darker before the shadow comes on. Like that. I think that looks pretty sick. And I'm putting that black one right to the bottom so that the white face takes kind of, it takes precedence. Anyway, moving on. That's roughly what you want to do with the face. Now he's got like a lot of effects going on with the 3D glitch effect. We're going to get to that shortly. I'm actually going to add over the top literally a blue brush. Now the reason I'm doing a blue brush is because his background is very blue, and therefore on his face I feel like he's put a lot of 3D red just to make it pop out. Because my background is very red, I'm going to put some blue. So I'm going to click over here and drop a load of blue down. And now I'm going to flick through the modes until I find one that kind of sits nicely. I've already seen a few that I like, so we'll go back through them. I quite like that one. I'm going to lower the opacity slightly and remove some of it from the hoodie because I think it looks better just up on the face. Something like that. It does the job. If you want something to stand out, what you can do is you can, so say I want my clout goggles to stand out, I can select like the shape of my clout goggles like that. And then you can, whilst it's selected, you can delete all the color grading layers that you have. Just so that that kind of stays default. Whilst it's selected, I'm going to go ahead and add a all white layer because I want it to like really shine. And then I'm going to go through the blending modes until I get one that applies nicely to the plastic. Like that looks pretty sick. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the blue glass be like really blue, if that makes sense. What I mean by that is I'm going to select... Oh, I need to save my Photoshop. Sometimes when I'm color picking, my Photoshop just crashes and it makes a bunch of like error things pop up on my Chrome. I've got no idea why. What I'm talking about is selecting this part of the glass. And then just filling it in with a vibrant blue. like that. Once you've got that, I'm just going to go through the blending options. I quite like this one. It's called Color Burn. I like it because it still shows the reflection of the monitors in them, and I quite like that look. And then I'm just going to lower the opacity until it's somewhat realistic, around there probably. Now all I've noticed is that I want the red around the outside of my head just to be a bit stronger. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do that effect again. The way I'm going to do that is by clicking on my body, right clicking, going to blending options and adding a inside stroke, making the inside stroke red, setting the mode to overlay and making it quite small. Maybe even outside will look better actually. Yeah, I think it does. I think that looks quite sick. Right, so now we're going to go to the text. I'm going to show you how to do the 3D text effect. I got an itchy nose. So click on the text, duplicate the text, go to the layer underneath, right click on it, go to blending options. Now you want to select or tick blue and green, leaving just this cyan colour. And then using your arrow keys, we're going to tap a few times to the left and a few times up. Normally I would go the other way when doing the 3D text effect, but this is how to do it like he's done it, and that's how he's done it. So we'll carry on. We're now going to duplicate the top layer again, not the layer that you just edited. Now select the bottom one, right click, blending options. This time we're going to make it go red, so all you have to do is untick red, leaving green and blue on. Now you want to go the other way, so go 2 to the right, down 1 or down 2, something like that. Should look good. That's the 3D effect. Now his looks a little bit different and I'm not sure what it is. I think it might be a slight blur, so we'll apply that afterwards. I'm now going to go back to this body here. Gonna make that clipping mask, 2 seconds. Right, I'm gonna go back to this body here and we're gonna do the 3D effect on this as well. So I'm just gonna be completely confident here and I'm gonna merge all of the layers that we've done so far together so that we can do some effects. But first I'm gonna lift that right to the top. So I'm going to merge all of that. And by merging, I've realised that ruins the stroke. So we're going to recreate that in a different way. Take off the stroke. Ignore everything that I'm saying. Then merge it all. Then we're going to do the same thing that we just did with the text. So duplicate it 3 times. First we select the very lowest one. And send it this way, left and up, then the one right above it, and just untick the red and go down and to the right. So that's how you get that effect. Now we want to make the background right behind me a little bit more vibrant, just so that I stand out more, because at the moment his face is definitely standing out a lot more than my face is. So let's give that a quick go. How I'm going to do that is I'm going to go above the background layers. So I've basically just underneath everything that is the text and my face, but above everything else. And I'm going to get the color white and I'm going to click right on my face here. Just like that. Maybe around my hoodie as well, slightly like that. And then I'm just going to flick through the blending modes until we get one that looks quite nice. That one looks kind of good. You can see the difference that it makes there. I'm just going to duplicate it a few times to make it a little bit more extreme. So now that we've got that, I think that's quite nice. From here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go above everything that we've done so far. I'm going to select a bright red and I'm just going to drag like that across there so that some of it is going over my hoodie, because I don't know if you'll notice, but he's got some coming up over himself as if he's in like a bunch of blue smoke, which I think is quite a sick effect. I'm going to turn the opacity on that down slightly. I keep having to look over to see what my next step should be. Right, in all fairness, we're not far from done. I'm going to show you how to do the small bits of text that he's got on either side. So let's make a new layer. Let's make our text color white. Let's drag it out. Let's use the font Bebus, because I've noticed that his is quite like the letters are quite tall. So type in all capitals, stay connected with an exclamation mark. And now I'm going to go between each letter and hold Alt and then just use my arrow keys to basically make them as close to each other as I can, because they're a little bit far out naturally. You can change your letter spacing, but I tend not to mess with it because for every single font it looks different, so I just do this. So I'm going to do stay connected. You can write something on the other side as well. I don't really have too much to tell people to do, so I'm not going to be doing that. He's made it quite small. Feel free to make it any size. The smaller, like stuff like that, you don't want to be like too in your face. The more you try and cram down people's throats, like all your social medias, the more people aren't going to want to, you know, connect with you. So just have it low key. If people want to with you, then they can. Anyway, once we've done that, I've got a little icons folder, but just type into Google Images like Twitter logo, Instagram logo, and just drag them in. If you type in PNG at the end, then you'll find people that have uploaded transparent ones. That might help some of you. Just going back a step quickly. Whoa, that's quite mad actually. I might drop the opacity slightly so that it goes to that kind of 3D effect a little bit more. That looks quite sick. So I advise you to go to the top layer. Just lower the opacity very slightly, and then that's going to put the 3D effect kind of inside the face slightly, which I think is quite a cool effect. It puts a bit of a blur on your face as well, but I mean, it's a good way of doing it. Anyway, back to this. Yeah, just go online and type in your social medias. So Twitter logo, drag it in. You want to make it white. Don't put it straight to where you want it now, because we're going to make sure they're all lined up properly. So yeah, go and get your Twitter logo. I'm going to put my Twitter logo and my Instagram logo. You want to make sure you're only using the one colour ones. Don't have loads of colours going on. It's going to look disgusting. So make that white as well. How I'm doing that is just by right clicking on it, going to colour overlay, and then making sure the colour is white and then pressing OK. I haven't skipped over too many kind of basic things like that. I always say to people that are like annoyed at me for going too quickly, like you still need to have kind of a basic understanding of Photoshop. Like this is a tutorial for people that know how to use Photoshop, not a tutorial for people that have no idea. And then the final one I'm going to do is my Depop logo, because I don't like my Snapchat's private type thing. So in fact, it's not even that private. I have it on various places, but it's not something that I want everyone to follow. Once you've got that, merge them all together whilst they're in a row by selecting all the layers, right clicking and selecting merge. Then make it smaller. You want to make it to be about the same width as stay connected, and just turn it slightly. Like that. That's then done, guys. You can put that wherever you want. He's put it like around there. In fact, it's going to look better with the spaces being slightly wider, in my opinion. Blip. There you go. Drag that down, twist it slightly. I think that looks quite cool. Very cool. There you have it, people. Right, so now the last thing we're going to do is show you how to kind of add the smoke effect that's coming up. I've just realised something that I hadn't even noticed. He's actually got a stroke around the text. So how we can do that really quickly is we can duplicate the top layer of the text, but take it to the bottom, right click, go blending options, press stroke, and add a big stroke. We probably want it to be about that wide. And then you can just drop the opacity of that until you're happy with how it is. I think his isn't transparent. I think instead of going transparent, he's just selected a color and picked a very dark red. I was in the wrong place there. Stroke overlay. I made it a very dark red like that. It's actually quite a cool effect. I'm going to lower the opacity of it slightly as well though, because I think it looks nicer. So there you have it, and I'm going to drop the opacity of all of that because I don't know, it doesn't look perfect. But there you go guys. That is that done. We're now going to add the smoke effect with some little particles coming up. I think this is going to be an important part of it. So how we're going to do that is you can download in the description. I'm going to have a smoke pack available. So you can just literally drag in a bit of transparent smoke, unless you want to try and make it yourself. A way of making it yourself, I'll teach you real quickly in case you wanted to learn, would be like just by doing little bits like that, making it slightly uneven like that, and then blurring it and like dropping the opacity, then going over the top with some more, with like some more bits like that, dropping the opacity of them, kind of putting them together like that, and then going through the layer modes like that, getting something that looks sick. Like that looks quite nice. His is more smoky though, so you can do that kind of by adding like a few more white dots like that maybe, and dropping the opacity on them. That actually looks fine, to be honest. I'm not going to go ahead and use the smoke pack, but feel free to grab it. Smoke packs are kind of useful for you designers, so I'll definitely put one down there. And then what you could do for the little particle effects is go ahead and grab the ellipsis tool and make a small circle like that. You want to probably have a couple of them in different places, and you probably want them all to be different sizes, some quite small, some quite big maybe. And then with those you can do what he does, which is that thing where you merge them, duplicate them a few times, and then do the 3D effect. So I quite like how that looks, to be honest. I'm gonna do one more now at the top, which is just white like that. Drop the opacity slightly. And then you can do like small soft brushes over them, like that, and like that, and like that, and like that. And then set it to like overlay. That just creates the effect as if the little orbs are actually emitting light. And I think we have a conclusion. I think it's done. So his has obviously had more time. I can't actually speak today. His has definitely had like a designer who spent more time on it than I have. You can see everything looks a little bit higher quality. Like his face has had more work done on it, and his face would have been taken, like the photo would have been taken with a proper quality camera, and it's been like retouched and shit. But you know, for what we've done, it didn't take us that long. I think we have quite a good quality logo, or banner even. I need to go to bed. Anyway guys, if you liked this tutorial, and if you've made it this far, go into the comments and say WillNE is a big nonce. Or say I'm a big nonce. Whichever one you prefer. I'll take either of them. Yeah, so guys, if you liked this, drop a like. Make sure you subscribe for more stuff like this. My future tutorials and my past tutorials are generally a bit better. With this one there was so much going on, and because I didn't like do a complete practice run myself, I was kind of experimenting whilst doing it. So I hope that means that you were still able to follow and all of that. Bang, bang, bang. I love you all. Maybe check out some of my other videos, or just be ready for my next one. I'd like to keep in touch with all of you, so hit me up on socials and all of that. Anyway guys, have a great rest of your day or night, whatever's going on in your lives. That's me out. Peace.
puff, then I pass it. That chopper flip you gymnastics. Fuck your love and I'm past